Good afternoon. I hope you are well. Charlie Wall here with your Friday question of the week. Although I haven't really got a question this week, I've been doing my Fly First Love Yourself program, and I've been doing it live, like a live version of it. It's a self-study program. It's 11 days. It's called First Love Yourself Fly, and what I've been doing this time is adding on. It's only $49.99 at the moment, so it's very, very, very cheap considering what you're getting. But basically, I'm adding videos every day. And today, good morning, Sandra. Today's video that I'm doing for tomorrow is called Naming Your Struggles or Naming Your Stories. And I do a lot of work with women around their stories that they tell themselves. So I thought I'd come in and do a video about this today, just to give you a kind of little feel or a sense of the sort of work that I might do in my programs, or the sort of work that I might do in my little communities. Because my one-to-one clients get access to me on an app called Marco Polo. And so they leave me messages if they're feeling like they've got a question or an insight or they need some help around something. And this morning, not only was I doing the video around kind of let's look at the stories that you tell yourself, but I also received a little video from someone who is very, very, very wonderful and dear to my heart, who's living in a story that she's telling herself about being a terrible mother. Now, I'm sure all of you listening who are mothers, and even if you're not mothers, I'm a terrible person story, it can feel very, very, very real. And as I've said before, if you listen to my stuff before, what I talk about is if you have a belief, you will find evidence everywhere that that belief is true. It's called a forward feedback loop. So I wanted to tell you a little story about something that happened to me when I was at school, and how this was the basis, a fundamental basis of one of the stories that I believed for many, 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 many years. And it's an innocent story of me at around 11, 12 years old at school, where I was at an all-girls school, and we had done some music test. And unbeknownst to me, I'd got 0 out of 10. Music is not my forte. I love a good dance, but actually music was not my forte. But the schooling in those days, I don't think was set up for people to be creative and intuitive. I'm not sure it is, but anyway. So for some reason, the teacher, my music teacher, decided to stand up and make me stand up in front of the whole school and point me out, name me and point me out, and tell me and the whole school that I got 0 out of 10 for this test. Now, I don't remember what she said around that, but what I do remember is the experience. And the experience was one of shame, one of guilt, one of confusion, one of embarrassment, one of fear, one of wanting the ground to open me up and swallow me in so that nobody could see this painful, fearful experience that I was having when I was already experiencing the world as unsafe, because I felt very shy. So this kind of compounded, this experience compounded my belief that probably had already formed on some level that I wasn't good enough and that I was getting life wrong. And that pointing me out to the whole school was evidence that I really wasn't a very good person. Now, what happened as a result of that, and I was only remembering this because I'm doing these videos for the Fly program, as I mentioned, and I'd written actually about another story, another theme that had shown up for me, and I'd written about that in the workbook for the program. But the reason I remembered this story, I think, is because it was one of those moments where I do remember it. I don't remember the details or anything like that, but I do remember the shame and the fear and the guilt. And I think what I've learned through the work that I've done and the work that I do with my people is that we live in that trance of unworthiness unconsciously most of the time. And we feel completely trapped in that place of fear, trapped in that feeling of unworthiness. And the experience of our suffering is extraordinarily real, intense, gripping, and compelling. Now, our experience of not being good enough is at the foundation of that experience. So for those of you that say to me, I found myself in the toilet crying, or, you know, I wanted to hide away under the duvet and just want the world to swallow me up, I know that you're not alone, and I know that you're not the only person who's experiencing the gripping intensity of that fear or shame or that loneliness. But what I do know is that you and everyone else that I work with, I hope, anyone listening to this, has a sense of hope, has a sense that deep down, you and us and love has the power and the space to hold that fear, hold that anxiety, hold that sense of unworthiness, because we keep looking outside of ourselves for the answer. We don't stop. It doesn't matter how many modalities you studied, how many therapies you've had, how many people you talk to. We never stop looking for an easier way, and that's because there is an easier way, and I and lots like me have found that easier way. So I want to offer you that space. I want to offer you that light. I want to offer you that hope. I want to highlight to you, just to sort of compassionately inquire into, what stories do you think you're telling yourself that you live in? What memories can you think back on and reflect on and think, my goodness, that shaped me and my sense of not feeling good enough? Just try and join the dots backwards, but with love, with kindness, loving kindness to yourself. Because once you start looking for where your light is and hold on to the possibility, just the possibility, even if you don't believe me, the possibility that maybe you are good enough, then that can be transformational. So I wanted to share that with you today on my Friday video, and I'm going to spend all weekend this weekend with another wonderful client doing a client intensive over at West Lexham, which is a beautiful place, which I'm hoping to run a retreat in November. So Google that if you haven't. It's a fantastic, phenomenal place. And if you want to come into the Fly program, it's $49.99 for a very, very short period of time. Whilst I'm creating this video content, once that's done, it's going up in price. But it's a wonderful group of women in the Facebook group, but you don't have to be on Facebook. It's on a membership portal. And it might just be the bridge from you feeling like you're alone and unworthy and feeling isolated to feeling part of a community, feeling loved, feeling held, feeling safe, feeling enough, or just even that there's a possibility that you are good enough. So I'll talk to you very soon. Mwah. Lots of love to you today. Let me know if you heard anything in this. Okay? Bye.